to Seth Viola aboard, who is with us. We're going to talk about sickle cell. And from my understanding of sickle cell, it's a red blood cell disorder. Correct?
Yes.
All right.
So good morning to all of our viewers. So sickle cell, one of the reasons I decided to do this topic, because I had a client over the weekend with the condition. And then I realized I never did this topic
right
on the program. So say, you know what, let me just touching it a little.
Nice one.
All right. So I'll share my screen so you could get an idea of what it looks like. All right.
Okay.
So you see a healthy or normal red blood cell and a sickle cell anemia. Now there are other forms of sickle cell, all right, based on which of the genetic codes that you have or the genes that you have gotten from your parents or whatnot. But basically, all of them affect the red blood cells. Some you have great deficiency of iron. Some you may end up have a large amount of iron still in your bloodstream. So while most people might think you need to just supplement with iron, that is not always the case. You could end up with too much iron in your system if you decide to supplement, right? Based on which type of sickle cell that you have, all right? Just to show you how this is how the blood is supposed to flow. But when you have these sickle cells, this is what happens. They stick to each other and clump up, and that could cause blockage, that could lead to strokes, that could lead to pain, could lead to organs swelling. So there are a lot of conditions that could stem from it. Something else I want to show is the reason why it got the name, and that has to do with the shape of it. It resembles the garden tool, the sickle, the blade.
Oh,
it have this curve.
All right.
All right, so that's why they give it that name, because
Sickles,
of the shape. Yeah, how the cell is shaped.
Right.
Now, sickle cell, as they have said, they've said, you know, it's based on, this is what they're saying, and I'm not saying that I necessarily believe this. It stemmed back from, they said, with mosquitoes and malaria, and the body trying to create a defense to give people a better chance against malaria in countries like in Africa and India, that their cells develop this gene mutation, all right? And because malaria is caused from a parasite that is delivered by the mosquito when it bites.
Yes.
And they say that abnormality or mutation in the cell gives people a greater fighting chance. But keep in mind that everybody that gets bitten by a mosquito develop malaria, or even mosquitoes that carries that parasite. When it bites people, everyone don't develop malaria.
Right.
And many people, their immune system naturally destroys that parasite. So then I think, you know, you should be looking at what about the individual's health is causing their immune system to be weakened to the point that they can't fight off this particular parasite, and therefore eventually leads over time to this mutation of their gene. The other thing is the first case of sickle cell, it wasn't officially called sickle cell, but the first description of it took place in 1910. In 1910 in California, when a doctor scientist was looking at a blood sample from actually an individual, a dental student from Grenada, right? Yeah, imagine, from Grenada.
From Grenada?
So that was the first, from Grenada, a dental student, because he had extreme anemia, right, and pulmonary issues. So when looking at his blood work, they saw that he had these sickle-shaped cells, all right? But back in those times, they could have done experiments that are no longer allowed to be done. Though I still like the idea of back then when they used to do those kind of experiments, because when you go back and you look back at the work done, it helps you to understand certain things a little bit better. But of course, some of those experiments were classed as unsafe or unethical. Well, one scientist, what he did was put a rubber band around a finger, you know, cutting off the blood supply. So therefore, the red blood cells in the area, you know, they end up, the area that was cut off end up building up carbon dioxide.
Right.
And the cells, the red blood cells, end up forming the sickle shape. So that kind of changes the mindset with regards to that. So that's how they realize, okay, it could be something dealing with hemoglobin, all right? But it also shows that a buildup of carbon dioxide in the body can cause that. Now, if you look at it from that, because we quickly blame genetics as genetics, right? It's genetics. So
it's
then
genetics,
everybody's
yeah.
like, fine, it's genetics. If we discovered this in 1910, and by 1925 they realized this is a new disease, meaning it wasn't always there, right? Some might say, oh, it probably just was discovered then, but you would have gotten more cases that would have led them to eventually say, well, this is something that have been existing in a very long time, but that wasn't the case.
Okay.
It's something new that started to pop up, which, you know, when you look at it, it's like, okay, this just started to pop up. All genetic diseases has a start. What is causing that start? Because we think it's genetics first that cause the problem. It's your environment first that affects your genes. It affects how your genes express, right? So, lack of oxygen. There's a condition called hypochloremic acidosis, which is where your body...
I just remember all these names, boy. Go ahead.
It just, sometimes when you understand what the word means, it's easier to remember.
All right, go ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
So, hypochloremic acidosis is when your body have an underproduction of bicarbonates, right? So if you have an underproduction of bicarbonates is how the human body neutralizes acidity. Now, the number one bicarbonate in the human body is sodium bicarbonate.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
See where I'm going?
We're going to salt.
Sodium bicarbonate.
Yes, we head into salt.
So if your salt consumption is low, of course, you're going to have a buildup of carbon dioxide in the body.
Right.
Now, coupled with that, if your diet consists of things that contains compounds like tannins and phytates, which are compounds that are found in things like cereals, grains, beans, nuts, those things block iron. So now you have underproduction of sodium bicarbonate, and then you're consuming foods that directly block iron. Mind you, those very same foods also come in with things like protease inhibitors that inhibits the body's ability to digest and absorb proteins. Keep in mind, your immune system relies on proteins for your immune system to function correctly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm showing here is I'm linking a couple things together to show that what people are calling a genetic disorder is directly linked to environmental factors that some might see as separate and far-reaching, but they have a thread that runs between them.
Okay.
If you have a combination of certain deficiencies that are caused from things in your environment, it would affect how your genes express. And that, how those genes are expressed, when they are affected, you are going to get abnormality in the production of certain things in your body. Hence, you getting that sickle-shaped red blood cells. Now, does the average person need to know all of this? No.
No.
Diseases popping up, most of diseases today that are affecting us today are under 100 years old. Right? Humans have existed for really, really long periods of time without those diseases.
Right.
It's clearly an indication that there are things that we are doing today that we are unaware of is contributing to the birth
to the
or
rise
the genesis of
yeah.
these diseases.
Yeah.
Right? Now we suffer from over 26,000 diseases. And it can all be linked right back to one of the main contributors of disease, which is what we are consuming on a daily basis that most people think is healthy, and it is counterproductive with regards to health. All right? Now, when people come to me That's why I go through it. Because just telling somebody, this is where they'll say, nah, but you're a madman, you're talking nonsense. Right? In fact, everybody I do consultations with, because my consultations are consultation and re-education.
Yeah, but I know you don't just do a consultation, you do the whole, you go the whole 9 yards with all the info and everything.
To understand.
Yeah.
And what they tell me is that, if you had just tell me the end without showing me all this information, I would have said you're crazy.
Yeah.
But when you go through and you see all the science, then you get this full understanding. Because if you want a behavior to change, you have to understand why you need to change it. Yep. You have to understand why this pathway has to be taken. Right? Or other than that, if you don't understand those things, you just going to say, well, this is just another crazy program. I'm just going on try here. Another fat diet, another fat this.
Most people get so accustomed to reading the short version that they miss out all the information in the full version. It's like picking up a paper in the morning and then judging an entire story by the headline.
Nobody reads the details. Most people just read headlines.
People will go, they will see this headline, no outside expert in NWRHA probe, babies' families blanked. And this is where the conversation will be for whomever they're talking to about it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go into and read the full article.
Yeah. And some might even interpret that as there are not going to be any experts at all.
Correct.
Right.
So the short version always leaves room for speculation. Right?
Correct.
It's the detailed version that we grew up, that my generation, maybe your generation, grew up on, reading books, reading the full chapter, everything, and then understanding it holistically. No, and I guess that's why you call it the holistic health clinic.
Exactly.
Holistically.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why I call it that. Yeah. Holistic health clinic. Because I don't just deal with your one specific issue that you come to me for. I deal with the whole body as one unit. Yeah. Right? When your thumb's sick, it's not just your thumb. Right? Yeah. It's the whole body.
Correct.
Because any nutrients that have to go, any medication that you take is not going to go from your mouth straight to that thumb. Yeah. That's going to circulate throughout your entire
body,
pulmonary system, the entire body. Yeah, so when you're taking something to heal here, you have to ensure that the thing that you are taking is not going to cause damage elsewhere. And this is what most people are unaware of. So many things people are consuming or using to heal the body is causing damage in other places of the body. And then they say, well, look, it helped here, but now they develop another condition. But they think that other condition they develop is through aging.
Yeah.
Right? They think it's aging that caused that. That not knowing is something that you were taking. So you're trying now to take a supplement or some kind of home remedy or something to help with this particular issue. I'm not saying it won't help with that issue, but you're going to cause damage elsewhere, especially if you don't understand nutrition as you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? And many things would not be corrected because of the simple fact that, it's not in the best interest of large corporations, medical device industry, pharmaceutical industry, medical associations. It's not in their best interest that you know certain things. Because then, if you know certain things and you end up like myself, where you no longer just get sick from anything, what money are they going to make? Right?
They go broke.
It's no longer become profitable.
Yeah, right? So Seth, thanks a lot. Always valuable information. People that can contact Seth on 7611952. That is 7611952. And you could also WhatsApp him on 279, is it 279 3935? 279 3935. But it had a situation about out of time, a guy contacted me over the weekend, type 1 diabetic. But he's saying that, the man told me living on medication and, he wanted to find out a few things. And I said, listen, we have many options. You could come up on the day, you could talk to the people in Diabetes Association. I have Dr. Rajiv Sriram, who does deal with diabetes through nutrition. And I say, I have Seth Weil aboard, who also deals with tackling diseases through nutrition. So I asked him if he ever talked to you. And he said, well, he wanted to call you a few times, but he said the problem is that people with type 1 diabetes, unlike him, it had to do with the pancreas.
Correct, it has to do with the islets of Langerhans, yeah.
So he said his pancreas is not functional. And that's why he feels, well, it might be beyond reversing.
A lot of people feel things are beyond reversing, but it isn't. The body is designed to heal itself. Right? What he doesn't want to do is continue eating how he is eating and then expect the body to improve. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
So he has to make a full change. But again, like I said, people need to understand why they're making the changes, because he would be doing things that is causing additional harm to his body, and he would be unaware of it. Right? And that's where I come in and I correct those things. Your body is designed to heal itself. And like I mentioned, I had somebody on my program with stage 5 renal failure, right? And they refused to do dialysis, and they came to me, and they had about 10 symptoms. 10 symptoms. And I tell you, symptoms from urinating blood, from on insulin for diabetes, from swollen feet, from severe back pain, body pain, insomnia, a constant cough, a good few issues. And after 3 weeks on my program, all those symptoms are gone. And the person is functioning and operating normal. Because your body is designed to heal itself, but you first have to stop poisoning it. And
just for clarity here, it doesn't mean that anybody that calls Seth, your problems will be solved in 3 weeks, eh? That is that is a specific situation to a specific person, and that is something that is not an overall thing that you call Seth and all my problems
that
in
you'll
3
come
weeks.
and you'll get and everybody would be 3 weeks. I've had people got issues reversed within a week. I've had people that took a couple months. So it varies based on where your health is.
You're at. But I think
where your internal health is, how much damage it have to the body.
I think why he was hesitant, and why I bring it up is I know you're watching the program and I know you're coming up on Sunday. I think why he may have delayed in making a call to you is because he believed that, remember we say, don't wait till it beyond reversing. There is a point you reach where you can't reverse the disease. And I think because the pancreas is not functional, he believes that maybe that is beyond reversing. So hopefully the little conversation we have in here will encourage him to give you a call.
And I would say the next question is, even if something reached beyond reversing, fixing your diet still gives you a better chance.
All right.
It gives you a better chance.
All right. So hopefully he calls you. So I want to tell you, brother, listen, I know you had the conversation. Me pick up the phone call Seth and have the conversation. You never know. Where you're at, he will assess where you're at, and then set a nutritional plan out for you, and you go from there. All right, 7611952. Seth, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you on Sunday.
Yes, man. Will do. All right, people, so that's Seth While aboard, and we will see him on Sunday at Run Stafford Run. Don't forget.